So I mean, you spent a long time working at the local and state level in Washington State, at Washington Conservation Voters, as you mentioned, and then Washington Progress. And then you made a move a couple of years ago to this national effort, and are the founding director of the Rural Democracy Initiative, right? Tell me why, like, what was so compelling? Why make that jump after so much time working at the local and state level to this really big, in many ways, bold effort on the Rural Democracy Initiative?
Well, I loved working in Washington State. I spent 15 years as an organizer and campaigner in Washington State specifically, working for the conservation voters, working on climate and low wage worker organizing and issues kind of outside of the workplace for low wage workers, and really knew every corner of the state. I mean, I could tell you like exactly where every legislative district is and who were there, and loved working with my colleagues and our elected leaders. But and then I transitioned to run the Washington Progress Alliance, where we were building kind of a permanent progressive infrastructure for Washington State. And at the time, Washington was really like more on the edge than you would think, in terms of it could have gone the way of Wisconsin. The right wing really had their sights set on Washington because we often had 50-50 governors races. We had a 50-50 split legislature. And so I wanted to make sure that we were in a position to really have kind of sustained progress. And by the time I left in 2019, we had really achieved that. Like, we do have kind of, I think, a really strong progressive political infrastructure here, and we have great elected leadership. And I mean, knock on wood, but I think we are in a position to have sustained progress in the state. And we're in a position to pass a lot of the big pieces of legislation that I'd worked on for a decade, like the Climate Commitment Act and capital gains tax, progressive tax reform. So I felt like, okay, we're good here in Washington. And at the same time, the rest of the country was not good, right? I mean, we're in a crisis in this nation, and I thought I've got maybe 15 like really good years left where I can go all out in my career, and I want to be thoughtful about where I spend it. And I thought maybe I could take some of the skills and experience that I had gained in my work here in Washington State and apply it on a kind of multi-state level. So I still don't think of myself as working at a national scale. I think of myself as working in about 20 states. And
That's all, just 20 states.